This is Ryan Widra with the New Jersey Sports Report. I'm here with Toms River North head coach Dave Oiserwitz. Dave, thanks for being here today.
Sure, not a problem.
Dave, you took over this program 2 years ago, and you had a large number of freshmen and sophomores, a very young team. It was a tough first year where you guys won one game. Your second year, you guys won 6, won a playoff game against an undefeated Lenape team. What have you seen so far this summer in this camp as far as this group's growth and maturity?
Yeah, I mean, most of these kids are, majority of them were a part of that program, 2 years ago, and we've really grown, from each year, and our main focus right now, our mantra is basically, we want to get better and value every moment of every practice, and that's what we're learning to do, and talent's certainly there. But it's a matter of really understanding, how important practice really is, and how that builds and leads, and really gives you earn the right to win on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon.
And what have you seen this summer out of quarterback Mike Husney that's really excited you? He's going into his third year as your starting quarterback. He was already thrown into the fire as a freshman, coming off a tremendous season with 1,000 yards passing and rushing. What do you see out of him?
Right. I mean, his first year, obviously, he's just a tremendous athlete, great competitor. He still carries all those traits, but he's really worked very diligently and hard at making himself a very, very sound, fundamental quarterback in terms of those kind of skills with his footwork and really just from the waist up, from the feet up, just really working his lower half and improving that. And he's using his lower half in his throws, and he's gotten bigger and stronger, and he's the ultimate competitor, as competitive a guy as I've ever coached anywhere, and he's got a lot of fire, and he despises losing more than he probably enjoys winning, and that's really that's kind of how we are, and that's how we want to be. So, and you can see it out there today. Just he makes all the throws. In the past, he probably couldn't throw people open to receivers, had to get open, and he could hit them. You're seeing now where he's actually able to throw receivers open, and that's really the biggest improvement I see.
Now on the defensive side of the ball, obviously Deshaun Copels was huge for you guys last year with 12 sacks. Who do you see this year besides Deshaun just really being a leader for you out there on that side of the ball and having a huge year?
Yeah, on the defensive side, Deshaun Copes obviously is, one of the best defensive linemen in the state of New Jersey. He's that good of a player. He really is, and, you watch him on film, he does things that, maybe a little unorthodox that we don't necessarily coach him to do, that we would normally probably get on another player not to do. But he's able to do things within the scope of our defense. We are a very disciplined, sound 3-4 defense. It's been very good to us over the years. He's as good as it gets. And, so obviously he anchors the front. We feel real good about some of the young guys around him. Cole Batch is a guy moving from nose guard to strong side 4-eye who's been excellent. Christian Lynch is a returning all-division outside linebacker. We have Calvin Jackson inside with some of our other young guys inside, or guys that have gotten playing time like Mike Angelosi, Pete LaQualia. We have Tommy Donovan, who's really taken a role on the defensive side with Anthony Storino, who's a basketball player who's come out, played football before, and has really been a boost for us in the front seven. We got some young guys we're training, but the secondary's majorly, I think, has been a major improvement for us. Matt Tomaszek is coming back as a 2-year starter, has really, improved quite a bit in that area. And we've moved Asante Moore, not just to play tailback, he's also playing safety with a few of the young guys back there as well that we feel good about with him. And then at corner, I think Bryce Watts is probably the best corner on the shore, or certainly in the conversation to be one of the better two-way players in the shore as far as a perimeter athlete. He comes back at corner. Darian Carrington, another tremendous athlete, back at corner, and we have some young guys that we're training around them that we feel like if they got to catch a moment where they need to get a drink of water or catch some air, they'll be able to do the job and without any drop off.
Now, Coach, you mentioned before about the energy, and of course I want to get back to the quarterback position with Mike. How would you evaluate his mobility, being able to have both a pocket passer and rusher at this level?
Well, I mean, his biggest asset right from day one was his ability, his feet. Besides being a competitive guy, just, he can move, he can throw on a run. He can, that was always something. If the pocket breaks down, it becomes a scramble drill. That's really not, the defense is really going to have to do a great job of trying to keep him in the pocket, which is easier said than done. He creates his own pocket at times, but, he's a dangerous player. You know, he's always got his eyes up. You know, he's a basketball player too, so he's a point guard by trade. So he's a ball distributor. But I think the thing with him that makes him so lethal for opposing defenses, because we have so many pressure points out there. We have more. We've got Carrington and Watts and a variety of players. Our line, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, is very thick and experienced. And a lot of them are 3-year starters, and maybe the strength of our football team. But Michael is able to run. Maybe was our best runner last year. Ran for I don't know 12, 13. He'd probably tell you better than me. He knows his stats, but was one of the most dynamic runners in the short conference, and at times could put us on his back just running the football with design runs. When it breaks down, you could spy him all you want. He's going to be able to cross the guy over and beat him. So Mike's a tremendous, obviously, weapon offensively for us. He's a real threat. He's a true, threat in the spread offense that we run. And we're not running a finesse spread. We're a run-based spread, an Auburn-style spread that we think is going to do plenty of damage this year.
And you talk about the spread a little more as you guys try to get into your offense here and find a rhythm.
Right.
Is that something that you really, of course, you want to mix that in with the passing game, of course, but how is it that you guys are able to really just find your identity into camp nowadays?
Well, we know what we are. That's the one thing. We're not looking for an identity. We're trying to sharpen everything up, sharpen the blade, so to speak. We know we want to run the football. We want to run the football at a variety of formations. We want to create pressure points on the field. We want to run from sideline to sideline and then stretch the field vertically as well. And the one thing that we are looking at doing it, I believe, especially, watching practice, that you could see the growth there, is we're able to throw the football with some precision. Right. On the move, in the pocket. Mike and the offensive line gives us the ability to do that. And obviously, our wideouts, they're dynamic. That's the one thing a lot of, I think people forget how athletic we are on the perimeter with Carrington and Watts, and we have a newcomer, Kenny Cook, that we really, really like, and Andrew Danielak, who's a sophomore, and Ricky Carberry, who's come back out as one of the top sprinters in the short conference, has come back out for us after being a player for us freshman, sophomore year. So we feel really, really good about the quartet of skill that we have around Mike, and we really, really feel great about our offensive line. Our offensive line's been our rock. Luke Butera is back as a senior captain, 3-year starter. We think he's as good a lineman as there is in the shore conference. I wouldn't trade him for any guard in the shore. He's 6'2", 280 pounds, very, very bright. Timmy Peterson's another 3-year starter right next to him, another very bright, cerebral player, very tough, rugged in the run game. And then on our short side, we got 2 guys. Asai Santa Maria Star is a sophomore, super athletic, probably our fastest lineman. 260 pounds, he can run, as good as anybody out there as a lineman. And then we're moving Cole Labatch to the tackle spot, who was last year's star as a sophomore defensive lineman. But he one of the few players to go 2 ways for us.
Hey, before we let you go, Coach, and obviously playing a very tough Class A schedule, playing teams like Jackson Memorial, Brick Memorial, Southern Regional.
Right.
What would be your expectation for this season to take the next step forward as a program?
Well, honestly, we're the hunters. We're hunting. Jackson's obviously there. They've reclaimed kind of the kingdom, so to speak, in A South these last few years. When I first got here, they were basically the kings of A South, and that was our goal then, was to take, that from them. We were able to do that over the course of a 3 or 4 year span. We've kind of ceded control as a division, all of us have, back to them. And we want to get after A South. That's our thing. We don't think about the state tournament, all that, because if you take our division, it's a black and blue division. Everybody's good. There's the teams that, a team like Jackson, that's obviously going to be the favorite. But you take a look at us, and you take a look at Brook Memorial, who's been probably the most consistent program in A South over the last decade, right. And then and you look at Old Brick, who's got a very talented young team together, and then you got Lacey, who's got obviously the legendary Lou Versillo, and Lacey's always good in our division, and very, very talented as well. And Tom's River South, who was the preseason favorite last year, again back with a very talented and strong coaching staff. There are Southern Regional, Chuck Donahue's got one of the all-time win leaders in the state New Jersey history. So our division is as good as it gets in the state. Nobody has a better conference and division than we do, week in, week out. What you tell your team is, we want to compete. That's why we focus on every period in practice. You want to compete week in, week out, play in, play out, try to win each and every game. And if you can emerge out of your division, okay, and have enough points, you got a chance in any tournament they're going to put you in. And that's the way we look at it. We know how good our state bracket is, South Jersey Group 5. We were fortunate enough to get to the semifinal and knock on the door with Cherokee, who's been obviously the class of South Jersey Group 5. Tremendous, one of the best programs in the state, maybe the best public school program in the state of New Jersey, certainly in South Jersey. And we don't worry about that. What we're worrying about is ourselves, getting better, really measuring ourselves against ourselves in practice. We go a lot of ones versus ones. But yes, Jackson is the measuring stick. There's no question about it. That's what we're chasing. But they're not the only ones. We know that there's a lot of teams with similar ability. I'd put us in that mix. But we are certainly, we'd be very disappointed if we weren't a challenger for the division crown and didn't get in the playoffs and make some noise in South Jersey 5. Those are the goals. Those are the goals every year we're here. All right, there are exceptions like 2 years ago where you may be rebuilding, but you don't accept it. You don't go into the season thinking that. We're not rebuilding here. We're chasing a championship. And really, anything short of that would be a bit of a disappointment, to be honest with you.
All right, Coach, thanks for being here today, and best of luck this season.
Sure. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, boys, you're on. Make sure you guys get your stuff in and then head over.